Alright, howdy. So I'm here to do a really quick demo of just kind of a basic run through of the new Marshall Origin 50 head. Only because it seems like most of the demos I've seen have either been people running dirt pedals through it, and make no mistake, it's a great pedal platform, but it makes it hard to hear the actual character of the amp. Or they're only running fenders through it. So in my mind, any demo of a Marshall needs to have, if not a Gibson, at least a humbucker guitar and nothing super hot. So this is a plain Jane 2010 Gibson Les Paul Studio, stock 490 and 498 pickups, nothing fancy going on. And I am running it into the Origin 50. I'll run through some of what the switches do, but one of the really cool things about it is this power scaling here, which goes low, medium, and high. And they used to have numbers on them, so it was like half watt, 10 watts, and 50 watts, but apparently there's some problematic math involved there, so they've just gone low, medium, and high. But what's cool about it is that they're doing all of that without, they're not using the usual pentode triode switch. They're apparently doing some kind of power scaling into the power tubes. Aside from that, it's got your usual EQ, presence, treble, middle, bass, and then it's got a preamp volume with gain here, and then a master volume. So in that sense, it's kind of like a 2204 head. It is EL34s and three 12AX7s or ECC83s, one input, but you'll notice this extra control here it has called the tilt, which is basically switching between, blending between what would have been the bright channel or the normal channel and the bass channel on a 4-input head. So it acts kind of like that, but with a master volume and a preamp volume, which is really very usable because it is still a 50-watt Marshall and it's very loud. I will start out with it in full power, and I will show you when I'm going to change it. I don't have, my apologies ahead of time, a fancy camera setup or any kind of fancy volume. I just have what's in the iPhone here. Someday maybe I'll have a really good setup. But the iPhone does a pretty good job of capturing what I'm hearing in the room. So while it's not hi-fi sound, at least it's not bad. So this is basically just the guitar on the bridge pickup with pretty much everything on the Marshall about halfway except for the master volume. So presence, middle, treble, bass, tilt is in the middle, gain is about halfway up at 5, and this is what it sounds like. I'm playing it through that 4x12 that I showed you, which is a it's a 36th anniversary cab with G12T75s. So again, not the most hi-fi or high-end speaker, but a pretty good representation. So here's the guitar with no boost on, because there is a boost mode that I'll get into, and then just the regular sound. So. So not a high gain amp at all. I would put it somewhere in between a 1987 and a 2204, which are the 50-watt 4-hole or plexi style and the 50-watt Marshall master volume style from the 70s and 80s. Somewhere in between those two. If I turn the gain all the way up, you'll hear what I get out of it. And this is max gain out of the amp without the boost turned on at max, at full power. switch the neck pickup. And it is very dynamic, so picks up on that very well. Here's the middle position on this guitar. Now I'll show you what happens. Just listen to the difference in volume when I switch it over to mid power. I don't know how well that'll come across on the iPhone, but in the room, it's a pretty noticeable volume difference. And here it is on low power, which hopefully you can tell is considerably quieter. And that's going to allow me to turn the master up as high as 6. There it's all the way up. Bit boomy, so the way I typically will set a Marshall, and it works pretty much like my old ones, I like to dial the bass back a little bit to remove some of that flubbiness, bring in some mids and some treble, and I'll usually have the presence a little above half too, so here that is. And the thing is, it's actually still decently volume controlled in this room. Now I'm going to go ahead and switch on the, I'm going to back the master off a little bit to like halfway up, maybe 6 or 7, because I don't want this boost to really blow out the microphone. But I'm going to go ahead and play now. I'm going to play a chord and then hit the boost on. Back off. So you can see that when you're pushing the amp, in terms of the gain, it doesn't make a lot of volume difference. It's a little bit louder. But let me go ahead and turn the master up and the gain down. And then I'll push the boost on again. That's the boost off. Here it is on. Pick up. Middle position. just wanted everybody to hear how it sounds without any pedals going into it. Thanks.